Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Today's guest is Nick Santonastasso, a guy who's proof that no challenge is too big. Born with Hanhart syndrome, he's built a life full of inspiration, humor, and pure determination. Welcome to the show. We're super excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for coming.
Great.
It's really nice having you here.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So, a lot of people may not be familiar with the syndrome and not be familiar with you.
Of course.
So, what is living with Hanhart syndrome has taught you? What has it taught you?
Yeah, so for those that don't know me, I was the 12th baby in medical history that they've ever seen this happen to. And basically, kids or babies with Hanhart syndrome are either born with undeveloped limbs or undeveloped organs. So I had about a 30% chance to live, and my parents went forth with that pregnancy. When I was born, the doctors did tests on my organs, and my organs came back 100% healthy, and the only thing that was affected were my limbs. So born with no legs, one arm, and the most handsome man with no legs, one arm. So that's what Hanhart syndrome does to you. But that is the syndrome, and I am living on the bonus round of life, right? So everything is additional for me. I'm not really supposed to be here, so I'm just enjoying every day.
Growing up with the syndrome for sure must have been difficult and accepting it and everything. But were you always confident as a gift, or did you develop it as you grew older?
It's a great question. Definitely not always confident. This is a work in progress, and I'm glad you get to meet the best version of Nick. But when I got into middle school and high school, I think the kids are the most judgmental during those times, and kids
a lot of bullying.
It's a tough time, regardless of legs, arms. Everybody had some sort of hard time during that, and so there was name calling and teasing others. And what's pretty interesting is most of our beliefs aren't even ours. We pick them up from someone else. And so, maybe one day someone told you that you weren't attractive and you started to believe it. Or maybe a teacher said hey, maybe you're not that smart, and you started to believe that. And so there was a specific moment for me where a girl had mentioned to me that I don't even have to make fun of you, you're already too messed up anyway. And that was around 14. That was around 14 years old. And I started to develop belief that I was unattractive, I'll never have a girlfriend, I'll never have a wife. And so, but that pain was the leverage in order for me to change, right? Humans, we either change for two reasons, pain or pleasure. And so I experienced a lot of pain, and that forced me to become all the things that you see I'm doing today, right? That pain of not feeling loved, I figured if I built big things, I'd finally be loved. And I don't know if that's sustainable, but that was how most of my success came.
I'm sorry you went through all of that. I really am.
It's crazy. People, especially people in middle school, are so cruel.
Yes.
They're really cruel. We have our own stories.
Yes.
Of course, we all do, right?
But I want to ask you that we know that society really does underestimate people with disabilities. How did you overcome that?
Of course, I think one of the greatest strengths I was given was my parents treated me normal. So I had 3 other siblings, and so I got beat up by my siblings just like everybody. They would put food in front of me and say figure it out, or they put my clothes in front of me and say figure it out. So they never do everything for me. And so they pushed me to become independent at a very early age. So that was one of the greatest strengths. So I had a really good relationship with failure. I was very solution oriented, and that carried into my whole entire life. And so I never really saw myself different. I was kind of delusionally optimistic.
Yeah, but I watched one of your speeches. You said that growing up, you never knew that you were different. And it got me thinking, as kids growing up, we are never racists. People with autism don't know that they're autistic. I feel like the society puts you under this category and restricts you. Do you feel that society, maybe growing up, restricted you in some sort of ways?
Of course. Yeah, that's a great point, right? They put you in a box. Yeah. And so when you're a kid, you're pure.
Yeah,
and you learn everything. You're taught these things. Yeah. And so, I was taught that, I was different, I was short, I needed extra time on things, and I really broke that by becoming an athlete. When I was 16 years old, this arm was about 5 inches longer than it is now, and it was very sensitive. I couldn't do activities with it. I actually made the decision to amputate that arm to become a wrestler. When I became a wrestler, my identity started to shift. I was labeled as an athlete, I was with the boys, and that's when the confidence started to spiral. But it all started by me just pushing the boundaries and not wanting to be last pick, but really push to be the best in what I do.
And not be looked at as different, basically.
Yeah.
So what was the moment of realization where, I want to get up, I want to have speeches, I want to inspire other people?
Yeah, that's a great question. So many people asked me to speak when I was younger, hey, would you come speak to my school? And, my dad's like, you could be a speaker. And I'm like, I don't want to be a speaker. I'm like a 16, 17-year-old kid. And at the time, fast forward to 20 years old, I was actually pursuing bodybuilding, and I moved from one state in America to another state. And I was at this small little get-together, and I was sharing my story, and there was a man to the left of me, and he was like, "You could be on the biggest stages in the world." And I'm like, "You're crazy." And he saw something that I couldn't see. And from that moment, we decided to go into business together, and I dedicated the last 8 years of my life to human behavior, to psychology, anything that I could do to help humans unlock themselves. Because the truth is, most people have all their arms and all their legs, yet they're still more handicapped than I am. Because of the psychology and because of the belief system.
Because of lack of confidence also. I think like the public speaking is a really huge issue for a lot of people.
I really love that, by the way. I love how you said that, you know, like a lot of people are more handicapped than I am. Now, you wrote the book From Victim to Victor. What does this phrase mean to you?
Yeah. These are identities, right? And essentially what a victim is, and I say this in the most compassionate way, but what a victim is someone who blames external circumstances for their condition, right? The reason why I'm overweight is because my family is overweight, or the reason why I smoke is because my whole family smokes. So we tend to blame or rationalize external circumstances for the reason why we act the way we do.
Yeah.
And from going from victim to victor is really someone who's a victor takes full accountability of their life. Meaning that if you look into the mirror and you don't like your physique, you understand that it's your fault. If you look inside your bank account and you don't like it, it's your fault, right? If you don't like where you live and you have the opportunity or resourcefulness to move, you can do so. But understanding that we're the creators of our life. And I say that in the most compassionate way because not everybody will understand that, and people only know what they know. So I'm not bashing people for not being where they want to be, but we just need to expose people to success stories and information of people who didn't have things and now they have things, because all it takes for a human is to see that it's possible. And once you can see that it's possible, then your brain goes, maybe I can do it as well.
Yeah.
And so I just want to be a walking, talking example that you can achieve whatever you want to do, and I'm going to lead from the front and do it first, and then y'all can follow.
I hope you really become super big, because honestly, we're all really tired of those podcasts, the overly idealistic podcasts. You can do this, you have this money, start from $5 to, it's unrealistic in some way.
True. Yeah,
but in your book, there's a slogan that says, how to overcome the victim mentality to live with the life you love. Do you genuinely believe that the victim mentality can be cured? Yeah?
Of course. I mean, it's the meaning that you give life. There are people in way worse situations than me that are way happier than I am. There's people with no money who are happier than the millionaires and billionaires that you see walking around the streets. You don't get the life you have, you get the life you focus on.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
But what is like the root cause of the victim mentality? Because like we see it all around. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, I this happened to me, and this happened to me, and that happened to me, and I have this and I have that.
Of course. I don't know if there's one root cause, but oftentimes most is caught, not taught, meaning that you grew up in a place where people complained a lot. So you just became a complainer. You don't even know you're a complainer. Did you know that by the age of 35, 95% of what you do is unconscious?
Oh, wow.
Your actions, your words, your emotions, your triggers are on autopilot. So that's what I'm saying. Most people only know what they know. They don't even know that they're in that mentality. So we're just here to shake them out in a loving way.
And so would you say like your environment and how you grow up can affect your mentality, basically?
Of course. There's three massively important things that you can control, which will change the quality of your life. The first one is your focus. I've already mentioned that. What you focus on, you get more of. What you focus on, you feel. And what you focus on is your life. The second thing is the content that you consume. If your Instagram feed is full of negativity, you become negative.
Yeah, the algorithm basically.
Of course. And the third and final thing is the people that you surround yourself with. And usually that's the most difficult, because sometimes it's your closest family and friends that don't understand your goals and your visions, and you don't like that. And so you don't need to cut these people off, you just need to love some people from afar. But those are the three most important things that if you can dial in those, your life will change forever.
And I feel like a lot of people, they love to be in the victim mentality. They never want to leave it. They have this. They love to complain. They're always at every story. They have to be the victim. But what is the most important tip would you give to those people to try to get out of that mentality? The people that want to change, or maybe they didn't notice it in themselves.
Of course.
How can they realize that? Oh, okay, people around you are really annoyed by their constant complaining, and you complain because you're not happy with your life, but you're not doing anything to change it. So what's one step that someone should take to try to put an end to that?
The golden question of what need am I meeting by playing victim? And what that means is most people complain because that's their way to get connection.
Yeah, people relatable.
Wow, that is
being relatable.
Most people complain because they get attention. Maybe they've never felt seen before, and the only way they know how to meet that need is to complain. So I have some compassion and empathy for them. But the question becomes, how can I meet that need in an empowering way?
But then what if like someone is like not complaining, but they're just like explaining what is happening? You know what I mean? It's like, and it's bothering them. What is that identified as?
It's a slippery slope. And so I would say you can explain the situation, but if you're not actively thinking towards a solution, then you're complaining.
What is one habit that like let's say someone wants to get out of the victim mentality, what is one habit that should be incorporated in their day-to-day life to avoid that or get rid of that?
Yeah, ultimately I would reflect back on how far they've come. You know, oftentimes people are either in the gap or they're in the gain. And what I mean by that is people are usually in the gap of how far they are away from the person that they want to become, and it makes them feel inadequate, versus looking back and looking at the gain of how much they've healed, how much they've overcome, how much they've succeeded. And so that's what I would say is turn around and look at your journey and see how far you come and feel those emotions so you can move forward in an empowered way. But most people are in the gap, not the gain.
Not a gap, yeah.
That is so empowering.
So the power of a mindset.
Yes.
Of course.
Okay. The power of a mindset. What, in simple words, what does that mean to you?
Mindset?
Yeah. You can describe it in 3 words, basically.
It's the hack. It's the upgrade. I mean, our brain is a computer system, and the only reason why a man with no legs and one arm lives more than a life than most people is because of his brain. I'm not stronger, I'm not taller, I'm not more handsome than everybody. It's because I have a specific set of belief system and people feel it. But you get what your beliefs are. So I shape my whole destiny based on my beliefs.
This is, by the way, like beyond inspiring and beyond motivating, because of course, like, you know, as humans go on a lot of hardships on their day-to-day life, right? And then when something happens, it's like it eats up all of their brain, and they start to eat up as well themselves. But thank you so much. Thank you so much, because I love talking to you. I love talking to you, and you inspired us and motivated us. And thank you, Masa.
Well, before you leave, like, what is one advice would you give to someone who feels stuck in life?
Start romanticizing with your future so you're not stuck in the past. Meaning sit down and create a compelling vision for your life that gets you so excited so you can jump out of bed faster than the man with no legs and one arm.
Love that.
Oh, interesting.
Love that.
So romanticizing your life in what ways?
What do you want? Meaning, what do you want your physique to look like? How much money do you want to make? Do you want to spoil your parents if you have your parents? What kind of vacations do you want to go on? What kind of skills do you want to learn? Get so fired up about life to the point where you're not reminiscing in the past and all the things that failed, but you're more focused on where you're going and where you're going to achieve.
So enjoy the little things in your life, basically.
Love that.
Of course, enjoy the little things and start painting the canvas of life.
Thank you so much, by the way, for the advice. And even though it's very like short, we're gonna of course talk about more after the show. But thank you all so much, and thank you, Masa, for joining me.
Thank you.
So stay tuned tomorrow for the same show again, same time, same place. Bye bye.